Good day. My name is Jezebel Igocholyam from BSHRM 701P. This podcast is intended in final exam of life and works of Jose Rizal from Module 9 to 11, the last trips of Rizal before the execution. Jose Rizal left the Pitan exactly 4 months before his execution at Bagong Bayan. He was accompanied by his nephew Angelica Narcisa and Josephine Bracken, Jose Rizal's common law wife. He recalled that he had been in Dapitan for 4 years, 13 days and a few hours. During his first trip to Manila, the ship went to different stopovers, namely Dumaguete, Cebu, Iloilo, Romblon, and Capiz. On August 1, 1896, the steamship España reached Dumaguete. On August 2, 1896, España reached the province of Cebu, a few miles from the Dumaguete province. Rizal was very impressed on the beauty of the town. On August 3, the steamship reached the Iloilo province. He was able to relax through shopping and visits to the Molo Church. Departure for Spain. Aside from having trips in different provinces of the Philippines, Jose Rizal was able to visit Spain exactly 3 months before his execution in Bagong Bayan. The steamship España arrived in Manila Bay on August 6, 1896. Jose Rizal wanted to catch the mail ship named Isla de Luzon for Spain. Unfortunately, the mail ship departed the day before they arrived in Manila. On September 2, 1896, 6 o'clock in the evening, Jose Rizal was transferred to a steamship named Isla de Panay. The ship sailed from Manila all the way to Barcelona, Spain. On September 4, 1896, a young student from Aragon informed him that around 6 o'clock innocent Filipinos were executed by the Spanish authorities because of the outbreak of the 1896 Philippine Revolution. Stopover in Singapore 14 years 1882 to 1896 later, Jose Rizal would go back to Singapore as his first stopover on his way to Barcelona, Spain. He arrived on the shores of Singapore 4 days after his departure in Manila on September 3, 1896. On the following day, Rizal and other passengers took time to shop in Singapore markets. Rizal did not know that he would be welcomed by arresting officers, also oblivious that he would be a prisoner and not a physician when he reached Barcelona. While in the ship, he was secretly kept under surveillance. On September 28, 1896, Rizal received the puzzling news that he would be arrested by the Spanish authorities upon reaching Barcelona in accordance with the telegram instructions sent by Governor General Ramon Blanco. Rizal said his memory that on September 29, there were people on board who do nothing but slander him and invent fanciful stories about him. He was going to become a legendary personage. On September 30, 1896, he was ordered by Captain Alemany to stay in his cabin and wait for further instruction from Manila. Jose Rizal was considered a prisoner and enemy of the Spanish government. This was also the start of Jose Rizal's predicament to his execution in Bagumbayan. Prisoner on board. The Isla de Panay reached Malta on September 30, 1896 at 6 o'clock in the evening. He was advised by the steamship officials to stay in his cabin. Because of this, he was not able to visit the famous island fortress of the Christian Crusaders. The steamship reached Barcelona, Spain on October 3, 1896 at 10 o'clock in the morning. At this point, Jose Rizal was already a prisoner for 3 days. As a prisoner, he was under the supervision and control of the military commander of Barcelona, General Eulogio Despujol. October 6, 1896 at 3 o'clock in the morning, Rizal was advised by a military sergeant to pack his things. After an hour, he was transferred into a boat accompanied by military officials. As a prisoner, he was forbidden to walk around the steamship. He was also locked up in his cabin. Jose Rizal was also handcuffed for 16 hours until the ship anchored on Singapore. He described his guard on duty as an amiable, polite, refined, and consistently serious on his duty. Preliminary trial with Colonel Francisco alive. His preliminary trial began exactly 17 days after he arrived in Manila from Singapore. The trial was facilitated by Colonel Francisco Olive, a military judge advocate. The purpose of his trial was to inform him of his case, possible legal punishments, and charges. The preliminary trial was also conducted to give him a fair chance to answer the question asked by the judge advocate. The investigation provided him the opportunity to meet the persons who testified against him, but just like any other trial, he was prohibited to confront this witness. The arraignment and trial of Jose Rizal. Jose Rizal was given the opportunity to choose this counsel from a list provided by the military court. Then, the court finally released the complete list of available counsels which contained 101st and 2nd lieutenants in the Spanish Army. Subsequently, Jose Rizal chose Lieutenant Luis Taviel de Andrade, the brother of Jose Taviel de Andrade, as his defense counsel. The trial's arraignment marked the beginning of the military investigation on the complainant's charge against Dr. Jose Rizal. The arraignment of the case was facilitated by Captain Rafael Dominguez, the principal organizer and the living soul of the Filipino insurrection, the founder of the society's periodicals and books dedicated to fomenting and propagating ideas of rebellion. The statement above was the summary of Jose Rizal's case, Rebellion and Sedition. His trial occurred at Cuartel de España, a military building. To be exact, the trial started at 8 o'clock in the morning of 26 December 1896. Dr. Jose Rizal was accompanied by 2 soldiers. His arms were tied with a rope. The military proceeding was also attended by Jose Rizal's common law wife, Josephine Bracken. This trial enabled him to disclose his sentiments on the serious charges present against him. He was given the opportunity to defend himself by stating that Rizal's 12-point defense. Despite Jose Rizal's 12-point defense, the judges of the court-martial decided to execute Dr. Jose Rizal on December 30, 1896 at 7 o'clock in the morning in Bagong Bayan. The decision was affixed by Governor General Camilo de Polavieja. Rizal wrote letters to his loved ones, to Ferdinand Blumentritt, to his family and his brother Pasiano Rizal. The Last Farewell of Jose Rizal, translated from the Spanish by Charles Derbyshire. Ultimo Adios, or The Last Farewell of Jose Rizal, is a 14-verse valedictory poem written shortly before he was put to death. Such poetry expresses love, death, unfathomable grief, and a man sure of his own convictions. It contains light that lighten the flame of millions of people's hearts. Also, he wanted to honor his homeland, the pre-Hispanic Philippines, for which he was giving of his life. He also used the poem to say goodbye to his friends, family, and loved ones. Jose Rizal's Last Hours, December 29, 1896, at 6 o'clock in the morning. Captain Domingo was tasked to read Jose Rizal's death sentence. After an hour, Jose Rizal was transferred to the prison chapel. He was then visited by his friends from the Jesuit congregation, namely Fathers Miguel Sadera and Luis Pisa, rector of Ateneo de Manila and Jesuit teacher, respectively. 15 minutes after they arrived, Father Miguel Sadera left Father Visa and Rizal in the prison. Visa was asked by Rizal if he can still remember the statuette of the Sacred of the Jesus which he carved with his penknife. He made the statuette when he was studying at the Ateneo. At 9 o'clock, Rizal was visited by Fathers Vicente Balanger, Jesuit missionary, and Jose Villaquiara, his teacher at the Ateneo. Afterwards, Santiago Matex, Spanish journalist, also arrived to interview Rizal for his newspaper El Heraldo de Madrid. Rizal was alone between 12 o'clock in the afternoon up to 3:30 p.m. Zaidi assumed that it was during this time when Rizal completed his last poem, Mi Ultimo Adios. Rizal managed to write his last letter to Ferdinand Blumentritt. Oh, my dear brother, when you receive this letter, I shall be dead. Tomorrow at 7, I shall be shot. But I am innocent of the crime of rebellion. I am going to die with a tranquil conscience. Goodbye, my best, my dearest friend, and never think ill of me. December 28, 1896, Fort Santiago. Father Balanger, Jesuit missionary, came back to Rizal's prison cell and discussed the retraction of Rizal to Masonry, anti-Catholic ideas, and previous writings. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Doña Teodora Alonso visited his son at Fort Santiago. He knelt down to her, kissed her hands, and asked her to forgive him. Trinidad. Sisters of Jose Rizal also arrived at his prison chapel. She was there to fetch her mother. Jose gave the alcohol cooking stove to Trinidad. Afterward, he was visited by Father Estanislao March, Jose Villaclara, and Roseli. The Dean of the Manila Cathedral, Don Silvino Lopez Tuñon, also visited Rizal. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Rizal had his last supper. He told Captain Dominguez that he already forgave his enemies. After a few hours, roughly 10 o'clock in the evening, a document of retraction was sent to this prison from anti-Filipino Archbishop Bernardino Nasaleda. It was sent through Father Balaquer. Rizal was instructed to sign the draft declaring his retraction to all these previous writings, publications, and conducting contrary to the true character as a son of the Catholic Church. He refused to sign the document December 30, 1896. Dr. Jose Rizal woke up early 3 o'clock in the morning. To hear the last mass of his life, he was also instructed to have a confession. He ate his last breakfast at 5:30 p.m. Afterwards, he composed 2 letters addressed to his family. To my family, I ask you for forgiveness for the pain I caused you. But someday, I shall have to die, and it's better than I die now in the plenitude of reconciliation. Dear parents, brothers, and sisters, give thanks to God that I preserve my tranquility before my death. I die, resigned, hoping that with my death, you will be left in peace. It is better to die than to live suffering. Console yourselves. I enjoin you to forgive one another the little meanness of life and try to live united in peace and good harmony. Treat your old parents as such would like to be treated by your children later. Love them very much in my memory. Bury me in my ground. Place a stone and a cross over it. My name, the date of birth, the date of my birth, and of my death. Nothing more. If later you wish to surround my grave with a fence, you can do so. No anniversaries. I prepare pang bundok, have pity on poor Josephine. Also, Rizal wrote letter for his brother Pasiano. For more than 4 years, we have neither seen nor written each other, not for lack of love on your part nor on mine, but because knowing each other as we do, we needed no words to understand each other. Now that I am about to die, I dedicate this last line to you to tell you how sorry I am to leave you alone in the world, bearing the burden of the whole family and our old parents. I think of the hardships you went through to help me in my career, and I believe I tried my best to waste no time. My brother, if the fruit is bitter, the fault is not mine, but fate's. Effects of Jose Rizal's death. For the Spaniards, the death of Dr. Jose Rizal boosted their pride as a colonizing state. It was also a manifestation of their superiority over the Filipinos. Shouted with sadistic joy, Viva España and Muerte a los Traidores. For the Filipino revolutionaries, the death of Dr. Jose Rizal contributed the patriotic flame to achieve independence through a bloody revolution. The following are the poetic lines composed by Cecilio Apostol, greatest Filipino epic poet. These lines are dedicated to the martyrdom of Dr. Jose Rizal. Rest in peace in the shadows of oblivion, Redeemer of a country in bondage. In the mystery of the grave, do not cry, heed not the momentary. Rizal as a Mason and the retraction issue. Masonry refers to an association of men who freely criticize the government policy without exhibiting any fear towards the Spanish friars. It was composed the liberal and republican Spaniards during the 18,000s. Retraction refers to an act of drawing back or to withdraw a particular statement or action that was previously done. It is an also act that taking something back. Rizal first encountered the association of Spanish liberals and Republicans who fearlessly criticized the Spanish government in 1883. They were also known as the principal enemies of friars in Madrid, Spain. From then on, he was accounted with the prominent Masons such as Miguel Maraita, Manuel Becerra, Francis P. E. Margal, Emilio Hunoy, and Juan Ruiz Orilla. These Masons occupied prestigious occupations in the society such as historian, writer, statesman, and professor. Because of his desire to propagate liberal and democratic values such as freedom of speech and assembly, Jose Rizal joined the association in March 1883, Acacia Masonry. Jose Rizal also joined the Masonry is ordered to use the Freemasonry aid in his fight against the Spanish friars in the Philippines. He was aware that the friars were only using the Catholic faith to conceal their personal interest in accumulating wealth. He planned to attack these friars through the help of their organization. 7 years later, he transferred to Lodge Solidaridad in Madrid. He became the master mason of his masonry in 1890. There were at least 9 women linked with Rizal, namely Segunda Katigbak, Leonor Valenzuela, Leonor Rivera, Consuela Ortiga, Oseisan, Gertrude Becket, Nestle Bustad, Susan Jacobi, and Josephine Bracken.